Boy, that was a doozy. Welcome back to everybody. This is Beyond Click and Cliff. This is a podcast channel where I just talk about stuff. Talk about my life experiences, stories, whatever's on my mind, and possibly just whatever I'm going through. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get some kind of laughter out of it, or a little smirk, or make your day feel better, or something. Who knows? But hopefully it's something. Last week, I was kind of telling you my story and everything, and this week we're going to do something different. We're going to just talk about an experience. For everybody who don't know me, I was on a fire department for about 20 years. I worked my way from a probationary, a cadet to probationary fireman to a lieutenant in the fire service, and this week has been just a constant reminder of what I went through. This week, I don't know if you all out there, we had a snowstorm come through. Some had ice, some had snow, some had sleet, some had a mixture of both, and some got a bunch of it, some did not get as much, but it was a big old storm system, and a lot of snow, sleet, ice, terrible stuff. And, I have a couple of my friends who love snow. Well, I'm proud of them, but they didn't have to work in it like I did. They were able to be in indoors and look at, and it looked so pretty. They said they love it. They look at it so pretty and calm and quiet, which it is, until all heck breaks loose. Then it's not so fun. And I got to see a lot of that. I was, like I mentioned earlier, I was on the fire department for about 20 years. And I think in 2007 is the worst winter that I went through with them. We had a big old ice storm, and that's all it was, just nothing but ice. There was, I'd say, almost an inch of ice on the road. They couldn't get off. It was too cold. Nothing would work. The salt only works at a certain temperature, and it was consistently below that. So the salt didn't work. They tried sawdust. They tried everything to get some traction. Nothing really helps. And in this ice storm, power lines were falling. Nobody had power for, say, a week and a half. And it was just horrible. Our fire station was ran on a generator, because we didn't have no power at the station, but we had a generator that powered the whole station, so we had to use that. And man, I worked every day. I didn't even go home. I worked every day. A lot of guys couldn't get in. They tried. A couple of guys got in the ditch. They couldn't get out. They just couldn't come in, so we just had to stay. And it was fine. We didn't do much. The chief let us just kind of relax until we had a call. We didn't have to go out and do we kept the maintenance up and stuff, but we didn't have to do everything that we usually do on a daily basis. But anyway, it was horrible, man. I tell you, we had and of course, heck breaks loose. So, we got fire calls. We got dispatched to a grass fire inside of a house. No, that's a structure. Don't know what that was happening, but we responded to, 3 structure fires in that week's time. And fire trucks was real slow getting there, man. We couldn't go fast. Because I think we had 1,000 gallons of water on a truck going on a sheet of ice. You tap on the brakes, man, you're fishtailing, sliding around, everything. So, we had a creep. And, of course, the outcome wasn't good. We try, as a fire department, we take pride on trying to go in there and save. If we can't save the structure, but try, if we could save some of the contents where people can, recover some maybe family heirlooms or something like that, that's what we take pride on. But that goal was really hard to accomplish at that time. Just because of the slowness, going out there and trying to get there, and it's horrible. Of course, we had kids get on the ice thinking that they were bulletproof in their vehicles. 16-year-old thinking they were bulletproof. They ended up getting in a wreck and were in the ditch. We got dispatch out there for traffic control to help with getting them out of a ditch, and luckily nobody lost their life in a vehicle accident. Other calls, we weren't that lucky. Of course, everybody panics, when, especially the first storm of the year. They hear, we're getting snow. Of course, people run out to their local stores and buy all the toilet paper and bread and eggs and get a little bit of supplies in case they get trapped in the house, which that's understandable. I get that. And after 2007, I do especially get that, because people got caught with their pants down in that week and a half. And it was horrible. Horrible time. But people started trying to be resourceful. People had generators, which, nothing wrong with having a generator. A good backup's always a good backup. But they weren't thinking. Some people weren't thinking. And I do this to one of my friends out there, people that are watching, all you guys are watching. You got to be a little responsible with it. Don't bring that thing in the house. Carbon dioxide is a silent killer. You get poisoning, you don't even know you had it till it's too late. And most people didn't bring them inside, but people did make a poor choice. We had one old lady I went to high school with her son. I said they just got done putting a new generator in their shop, and it ran the house and the shop. Pretty big one. They just put it in. They didn't get it vented. And she didn't think anything of it. She walked out there, started up that morning, came back, went to work, came home from work, and went to go check the gas. She thought that it was in the garage. There was a vent hole, there on top of the building, thinking that was enough ventilation. She didn't make it to the generator before she passed on with carbon monoxide poisoning. And took her that quick. We responded, and nothing we could do. She left. She passed away. And horrible. Felt so bad. And that wasn't the first call we had. People started using generators, and one had a house that had a drive-through garage underneath the house. The house set up here. There was a garage sitting underneath the house, and you could pull in underneath and pull out. They had the doors open. They had the generator sitting in the middle to operate a little bit of the house. And they were getting headaches. They left, and they called the fire department. We went out there with our meters, and we walked around the house. They told us there was a generator that was running in the garage, but the two doors were open, so I didn't think anything of it. Well, that's ventilated. What's going on? We took our meters, and of course we walked in the house, and the thing started lighting up and making noise, and it was well above the levels. Same situation. I'm like, what is going on? So we left the house and went downstairs where their generator was, and it started making a little bit more sense. Drive through, two doors on both sides. There's a hallway going into the house in the basement. So it looked like a T. If you're looking above it, it looks like a T. Okay? The air was going through the back. And what was it doing? Pushing the fumes and the carbon monoxide through that little hallway up through the house. Kind of like a chimney. A chimney effect kind of thing. And yeah, so there's where that, nobody, we helped them move their generator outside and kind of let the air out the house a little bit. We put the generator completely outside, shut the garage doors, ran an extension cord to wherever to hook it back up, and And they were afraid. Well, they didn't want to go. A lot of people, I get it. They did not want to go outside in the freezing cold and ice to try to put gas and check on the generator. It sucks, but you have to, especially when you use a generator. So we helped them put them out there, and we made a kind of like a little cover for the generator, so it wouldn't be covered with ice. They can go in there and put gas in it and not have to mess with scraping off the snow or anything like that. Well, we had to do that to quite a few houses. Some people thought they could take the generator and put it inside their kitchen and run it. They had to take a person to the hospital, and this person got carbon monoxide poisoning, so they called the fire department, and here we go again. Same thing. I explained to them, take the thing outside. Not good to keep it inside. I understand you don't want to go outside. It's cold. I get it. We don't want to come out here because it's cold. But we're here. You've got to take it outside. And in this situation, people do overlook things. They're concerned about, we got to stay warm. No power. And we ain't got the money to go. And we really couldn't go anywhere because everything was out of power. So, and they didn't want to freeze. And they had a shelter that was running on a generator, but it was full. They were over capacity. And it was just total mess that couple weeks. So therefore, we had to explain, they feel like they had to go get a generator, put it in. So, and I get it. So yeah, and this week, I heard the same kind of stories just being home now. First snow of the year, people were out buying generators. People were at the stores buying extra food. And I have to admit myself, I was like, well, maybe we ought to go to the store and get a little bit of supplies. Because this house kind of loses power all the time. On a little wimpy windstorm, a little bit of rain, the house can flicker and lose power. And well, maybe we ought to go get some extra supplies, batteries, flashlights, just in case. And we did that. Well, I say my wife did that. I didn't. She went to the store and got all the stuff that we put on the list, but make sure we had plenty of water. But it's good to prepare for circumstances. Make sure you have water to drink, because a lot of times if you lose power, you're on a boiling order for your water, and how are you going to boil water if you don't have a stove unless you build a fire? And that's going to be coldest outside in this kind of weather to build a fire to boil your water. So it's always good to make sure you have some bottled water in the house, especially during things like this where it's going to be hard to get out and stuff like that. So I get that. So make sure you always have water. Make sure you have plenty of blankets, flashlights, extra batteries. Don't do what my wife did. And she went out and bought some flashlights. And these type of flashlights didn't take batteries. You charged them up. And I just thought about that for a second. Asked her something. I said, What was the reason why we bought flashlights? She goes, because the power went out. Those lights go dead. What happens? We'll charge them up. And I looked at her like, how? And she thought, well, that didn't make no sense. I said, well, no, but the thought was, they lasted for 20 hours. Hopefully, within then, something would happen. We have electricity again. But it was just, people overlook things like that, and it's nature. And I wasn't teasing her. I teased her, but I wasn't getting on to her. She went and got flashlights, and she saw these that were small, but they were bright. So, hey, we'll get these. Oh, we don't have to buy batteries. Just simple stuff, We could charge them up. How? We know it. But we did go back to the store and went to the dollar store, bought a flashlight that was a couple bucks, and bought some extra batteries. We tested them out when we got home. They worked, so we had enough batteries. But, they'll be good flashlights. I mean, they're good flashlights. They're not. I mean, but it was just funny, and stuff like that. That's, when you're thinking about other stuff. Like, man, I gotta get this food. I don't want to get home. It's cold. Hopefully we have enough to make it through in case something does happen. And, you overlook these little minor things, and they could turn into something bigger if something happened. And thank goodness so far, knock on wood, this is Sunday, and this happened Friday. We didn't lost power. We had flickers of electricity go out, but that was it. Lost the internet for a little bit, but nothing life-threatening or anything. So we've been able to stay warm. And we ate. I mean, everything's been good. We just didn't go. We haven't been outside. but things do happen in my life. I understand that. People overlook certain details and not think, like the person with the generator in the garage thinking, "I have the garage doors open. That should be. I mean, it's ventilated." Didn't think about the chimney effect. I wasn't either until I was in the scene thinking about how is this happening. Why is there a house full of carbon monoxide when they have ventilation? This is weird. I kept asking, you have another generator? No, this is only one. And then we thought about it, and maybe. And just so happened, my chief smoked cigarettes. And he was smoking outside as we were talking, thinking about it. And you see the smoke from the cigarette go in. And you can see it just turn. Going up, that's when we So my boss, he looked at it, and I don't know why we had these on the fire trucks. I never knew the reasoning, but this helped. Smoke bombs, like you get at the 4th of July, just a little ball that different color as you light it. Well, he lit that and put it there by the generator, and you see the smoke, and it, like he thought he saw in his cigarette smoke go up that alley. The wind was blowing on both sides and just pushing it through the house, and that's what it was. And pretty smart idea. I don't know how regulation it is to use a smoke bomb, but he always liked to think outside the box, and I hate to say it, 9 times out of 10, he was correct on a lot of it. Of course, he had 50 some odd years in the fire service. He seen a lot, but it's easy to overlook things in emergencies. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this podcast of my experience. I love talking about my fire department career, the stories I could tell. There's a lot of good stories, and there's bad stories, but I don't like to really talk about them. But I'll tell you all the good stuff. And yeah, we had a little downer in the story today, but all in all, just a little warning out for you all to think about. But guys, I'm going to leave this like I always do. Be somebody's light in somebody's darkest cloud. Somebody could be having a horrible day, and just a hello from you brighten their day. Treat others how you want to be treated. If you want to be treated good, be nice to somebody. They can be nice back to you, and it'd be a good take. If you're mean to somebody, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna be mean back, and that's not good. Treat others how you want to be treated. Guys. Until the next time, take care and be safe, and see you next week.